more that you read, the more things you'll know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to read. Reading has the power to open our eyes, open our hearts, and truly transform us. Bismillah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the Muslim Bookshelf. I'm your host, Naima B. Robert, and I am an avid reader just like you. And today, we're going to take you back in time. We're going to take you on a journey across continents, across generations, across families, the types of stories that are happening every day in our community that are going undocumented. My guest today is none other than Samina Uddin, who is the author of this beautiful memoir, Delhi Nights to London Lights, a daughter's loving memoir to her father.
So I always wanted to be an author, always wanted to be a writer from a young age. When I was 16, I started working for local newspapers in my spare time, and I got articles printed, and once I saw my name in print, I got the bug. As I said, I always wanted to write, and having children, etc., there just didn't seem time. And then I read Naima B. Roberts' book back in 2009, and soon after that my dad passed away, and I used to write things but I could never complete them. Now I know in hindsight I didn't have the tools. So when I did Naima's courses, I was actually able to fulfill my dream of writing because I knew how to write, because she teaches you, step by step. So because of that, I did a course with Naima. It took me 3 years to write Delhi Nights to London Lights, and the rest is history. I've also written some children's books which I'm hoping to publish, and I'm currently drafting the sequel to Delhi Nights to London Lights, and the current one is a daughter's loving memoir to her father, and the sequel will be a niece's loving memoir to her uncle, and still using the partition of India and the birth of Pakistan as a backdrop. So in terms of colonisation, it's very apt, particularly at the moment, and we need to learn our history, and for someone of South Asian heritage, it's very important that I get that message out there. I have become more of an expert, I feel, as I did so much research about the partition of India, and it's only 1.5 chapters of the actual book. My first love was not a boy, it was Liverpool Football Club. When I was about 11, I want to say 10 or 11, I do actually go to matches. I try and go once a season. We're a family of Liverpool fans. I love being in the Kop. I really enjoy matches. I do follow, as I say, I've been following them since I was 11. I also love cricket. I haven't been to many cricket matches recently, but used to go very regularly. I play cricket. Not only did I play cricket at university, I set up the first women's cricket club on my campus, and I'm currently playing in an over 55s group. It's walking cricket, but you do sneak in a run or two. I love reading. You can't be a writer without reading. Swimming, going to the gym, those kind of things. I do enjoy all those. I like learning new things, learning languages. In COVID, I was using an app to learn Arabic and Spanish, so I would like to build on that. And arts and crafts as well, so I'm quite busy. I think libraries have been really important to me. My first proper job at 16 was as a Saturday assistant in a library, I've recently moved to Yorkshire and the library's actually been a godsend for me. So I would say libraries, librarians, they've really helped me. Don't let anyone say that you can't do it, and then just do it. Get as much practice as you can. Be a reader. Read. I used to read a lot. I still read, but I was a voracious reader. And I would just say you've got to be a reader if you want to be a writer. Do a diary or a journal. Start small and be consistent. So I'm talking to myself as well. For my next project, I need consistency, and I will do that. But everyone gets some kind of imposter syndrome. So just put that to one side. You can do it. It's your time and you will do it. I'm currently working on the sequel to Delhi Nights to London Lights, which is a daughter's loving memoir to her father. I'm working on a niece's loving memoir to her uncle. So I'm using the partition of India and the birth of Pakistan again, not just as a backdrop this time, but because I've done so much research, I just didn't want to lose that information and that knowledge that I have, because I think it's just so important for us to learn about the genocide that took place in 1947, and we need to educate ourselves in terms of colonisation and so forth, which is very key, especially at the moment.
Assalamu alaikum, sis.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wonderful to have you here with us, mashallah.
Thank you for having me.
It must feel so amazing to have this book in your hand. Who is it about?
So it's about my father. It was only supposed to be for friends and family. I was probably going to print about 50, if that. But then I studied British history, the partition of India, the birth of Pakistan, and the genocide that took place that we don't really know about. I didn't know about it, so how would I expect British public or Western society to hear about it? So it became much bigger than my father.
Much bigger than your father. I love that. And I know that you've had your own journey with writing, mashallah. Tell us a little bit about who Samina Uddin has been as a writer from her young days.
I would be found in a local library. Well, I couldn't speak English until I was 6.
Okay,
and
mashallah.
as soon as I could speak English, I was reading, writing. I loved going to school and all creative writing. I had like a diary from a young age. We were encouraged at school to do that. And when I was about 16, I was proactive, and in the summer holidays, I rang up all the newspapers. It was quite far for me to travel, and it was there when I just got the bug.
Yes.
And then that was just a week in Kingston, and actually my mentor there, the reporter, he actually wrote the foreword.
Amazing.
So I was 16, and
so you were 16 and you applied for jobs with local newspapers. And you got one?
Yeah.
And what did you have to do while you were there?
It was like work, it was work experience. So they would get you to do weddings and cover things. I was really fortunate because I was often in the right place at the right time.
Nice.
And they'd say, oh, this is really small. Can you do this? Or you'd go out with...
They actually sent you out to...
They didn't send me out exactly. They send you out with other reporters.
Right.
But at one time, something just came up and they said, oh, Samina, you do this. And that's happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
You're just there, sometimes sitting there, and it's too small a story for the other reporters. But I did used to argue with the sub-editor about headlines, you know, subtitles.
Yes.
And it's in there in the foreword.
Yes, it is. It is. And this is this kind of journey that you've been on. Tell us a little bit about, obviously, 16. You go into the newspaper, you know, you're writing, you're arguing, you're making your case. Did you carry on writing after that?
A little. I was editor of the school magazine. Okay. And then at university, I did a bit as well. Okay. I got married quite young, so that was put on hold. I had children fairly young as well. But it was always there.
Right.
It may have been latent, but it wasn't even on the back burner. It wasn't even burning. It was just there.
It was under the sink.
Under the sink.
Right.
Another Naima metaphor.
Yeah. It's just under the sink. Just, you knew it was there, but you don't see it, and it's not, you know, in front of you. So we have children. We do the family. And so when did you start coming back into writing then?
About 2011, I wanted to actually write a bit about my grandmother B, who's in here,
Yes, she is,
because I
yeah.
knew that she did this. You know, she sewed notes, rupee notes in her coat. She took the lining out.
How did you know that story?
Just actually, one of my cousins. I'm pretty much the eldest. I'm the second eldest. They'd heard this, so it was.
Really?
This was something I knew in 2011. So I wanted to write that, but rookie mistake. I would write and then I would go back and edit.
Right.
I would go, and then I was just going around in circles. I thought, I can't do
loop.
this.
Yeah,
I can't do this.
So at that time, were you thinking of a memoir or just a short story? What was it about this incident or this experience with, and we're going to go into the rupee notes and the sewing in, because that's actually part of a much bigger story, isn't it? But what was your intention with that? Was it a short story? Was it a memoir, a novel?
It was just to write something about my family, because that, you know, it was just that thought, and it was to describe my grandmother as she was, a very young, glamorous woman looking in the mirror and that kind of thing.
Reimagining her story.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. So that actually brings me to my next question, which is, in terms of stories and history within your own family, was there a lot of storytelling when you were growing up? Did you know much about your parents and uncles and aunts and grandparents, or was it just like they are who they are right now?
No, I knew a bit, but not much. You know, you'd hear like my grandmother B, she did actually spend a lot of time. She lived with us when she was a jet setter. So when she wasn't in Pakistan or India, she was in London. Her main residence there was my father's house.
Okay.
So I did hear stories from her. And
so she was a storyteller?
She was, but they were like fairy stories, you know. Yeah, they weren't, you know, what we did and what happened. But no one talked about the partition of India. No one talked about partition.
Now, this is the interesting part, and I'm asking these questions because I know that majority of the viewers, I'm sure, have family members, parents, aunts, uncles, grandparents, etc., who have been through some kind of upheaval, whether it's a personal upheaval, a historical upheaval, as in your case, or cultural change. I mean, we've seen so much cultural change in the past 2-3 generations, right? And if you're watching this from the UK, you know that many of the people watching this have come from elsewhere and lived a completely different life elsewhere and were completely different people somewhere else. And a lot of the time we don't talk about it, like you say, and those stories are actually untold. And many elders will die without ever having told their story. And I know that you came to write this memoir and you uncovered a lot of those stories, didn't you? So first, before we get into the stories you uncovered, why did you decide to write a memoir for your father?
It was for his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren, and for future generations that didn't know him and didn't have the privilege to know him. So it was for that. And as I said before, it's for family and friends.
Yes, yeah. But sorry, Samina, that's actually such a beautiful intention, mashallah, and something that I think very, very few of us do think about, which is that for our parents, obviously we grew up with them, we know them well, you know, some more than others, but the likelihood of our children knowing them and understanding them as fully as we did or do is quite low. And many of us don't think that our parents, they haven't told us their story. We haven't managed to capture those. So I think that you've done something really important. And I wish more people thought that way and more people did that, because that's one of the things that we don't see within the Muslim book world. There's a lot of memoirs, a lot of narrative, a lot of putting down for history's sake, this is where we were, this is what we did, this is who we were. So your initial idea was for the grandchildren, which is already amazing, right? MashaAllah. So you embarked on this journey for the sake of the family. How did you go about the research process? And I'm asking you this because, just for those who don't know, could you please just tell our viewers, what is a memoir, and is a memoir an autobiography? Are they the same thing? What are we talking about here?
No, an autobiography a memoir is a slice of life. So I don't say, and then they went to India, and then they did this, then they did that, and then they had beans on toast or whatever, you know? So it's a slice of life, whereas an autobiography is the whole life.
Right,
You know,
it's the
from
whole, it's a life
childhood.
story,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's,
yeah, it's
from
a life
childhood
story.
all the way.
And it's usually someone famous. We had this
True.
discussion when I wrote,
Yeah.
when I was on your release program.
Well, this is the thing again, and I'm hoping that this will kind of maybe expand some viewers' minds, because for sure, when people hear of a biography, you know, if we say, oh, you know, would you write your grandmother's biography? They'll probably say, my grandmother's not anything special. Like, we love her and everything, but she's not famous. You know, she's not a celebrity. She's not anything kind of note. Why would she have a biography? And so the idea of a memoir is memoir. It's memory, right? It's literally putting down memories. And it can be on any theme. It could be any slice of life. It could be literally one chapter of your life. It could be 10 chapters of your life. So you decided memoir, and this was for your dad, for the family. How did you embark on the research process? Because again, I asked this question already, when you're writing your own memoir, everything's up here. Yeah. But you were writing for your father, and he had already passed away. So how did you start the research process?
Oh God, it was tough.
I can imagine. Yes.
I did a lot of interviews, and I didn't actually know how to interview, because everyone's going to say, as you and Hen said, oh yes, your father was great. You know, he was a wonderful man.
Yes.
Yes. And, you know, what foibles, what weaknesses did he have? So people they're reluctant to say that. But then I had these questions, these open-ended questions, you know, how did you feel? And what can you remember? Is there anything in particular that, you know, made you laugh, or did he upset you?
It's those questions, isn't it? It's the zooming in. It's the specific memories. Because when you ask people usually like, oh, how do you remember my dad? Or what was your experience of my mum? They are going to give you very general reflections, aren't they? They're going to say, well, she was wonderful, or her house was always open, or something like that. But we, with the readers and the authors, we need them to zoom in to specific situations, specific memories, a particular conversation that they had. So how did you manage to kind of prise it out of the family?
Well, my secret weapon, my mother.
Mashallah.
She is brilliant.
Lovely.
She's got a really, really good memory.
Mashallah.
Excellent memory. Allah preserve her memory.
Ameen.
And keep her in good health.
Ameen.
So she told me stuff that I didn't know.
Okay.
And then she would give me hints, not hints, like things that she didn't know, she was able to mention. So, you
point
know,
you in the direction.
Yes, point me in that direction.
Oh, I remember that. Him and Uncle Jahangir did
exactly.
Okay.
And I have pretty good memory as well, because some of this is from me, from my memory.
Of course.
So then, alhamdulillah, he's one of 7 siblings, and himself and his eldest sister, eldest of all of them, they'd both passed on. So 5 siblings, I was able to interview them.
Yes.
And sometimes if you put the tape, you know, if you put my phone there as a recording, they would be, you know, they'd get shy and they wouldn't. Yes. But then I knew their personalities and their relationship with my dad. So I was able to say, well, did he tease you? And my youngest Aunt Meher, who just passed away last year. No, this year in February. And she would say, she just went off on one.
All of a sudden, just it popped her open.
So I knew these stories. My mum had told me, but to get it from the source, I said, did he tease you? And she goes, did he tease me? And
Let me tell you about him teasing me.
Yeah, and then she just... Mashallah. And I have those recordings, and they're precious as well.
They are. They absolutely are. So you gathered your own memories and the memories of the family. Was that all you needed?
No, so I also, his best friend, Zia Khan, I interviewed him, and I learnt stuff that I didn't know about. And his brothers, one who's an introvert, who was an introvert, he just kept talking. It's like they wanted to talk.
Wow.
So, and his friends, I spoke to them. There's people weaved in here anonymously. Just makes sense to do it that way. And there's things that I have done very diplomatically, you know, because it's family. I don't want to upset anyone. I never, that was not my intention. And it's just, the partition became a character of its own.
Now that's interesting, right? Because obviously you knew that a part of your father's story was partition, but at the beginning it was like, well, it's background, right? What made you decide to actually start reading into and reading up on the partition and including it in the story?
So my mum talked, I knew I was going to mention it, but it was going to be maybe a couple of paragraphs.
Wow.
Not anything at all, because... and then when I started, I'm a speed reader. I can speed read as well. So when I started reading, my daughter actually got me a book, The Great Partition by Dr. Yasmin Khan. She just ordered it for me. And then when I started reading that, and that's a heavy academic book.
Right.
And then I went on YouTube. I went on Dan Snow's History Hits. And there were so many things about
What
partition.
drew you in like that?
It's history. I love history. And it helped me understand my own identity. You know, why are we here? Why are we in the UK? And I'm able to now say we have every right to be here because we are part of British history. It was the British Empire, not Britain, that won both world wars. So that's in there.
Yes,
that's
I remember that part. Yes, right. And so from what the book basically is, you know, stories about your father, part of his journey, and you know, sort of chronicling his journey from, you know, the early days in India, and then they left India, didn't they? When there was the partition, and they went up to what became Pakistan. And there's some wonderful stories about him driving from England to Pakistan.
So with his eldest brother Nasir, they had a business. They had a few businesses, and it was they would buy new cars, and then they would drive across Europe, and then they would go to Pakistan. And now you cannot do those. You cannot do those journeys now.
How could you? I'm just when I was reading it, I was thinking, the car must have been a banger by the time it got to Pakistan.
No, they stopped in different places. Wow. They looked after the car.
You got wonderful stories in there of these journeys that they were taking, because there were several, weren't there? And then stopping along the way, and
there weren't several. There were loads.
Visiting all these different countries. And I think that your father was an anomaly for that, wasn't he? Was it in his town or in his community? Because he was like a jet setter.
He was. They're all very glamorous.
Oh, really? Are they?
They
Tell
were.
us about your family then. Tell us more. Give us some more tidbits from the book.
So no one actually...
I know about your mum. She was a beauty of the age and everybody had a crush on her. Tell us more about the family.
So the family, my dad's family, no one travelled in those years, in the 50s, the 40s, 50s. No one. People didn't go on aeroplanes.
No.
And they were going on aeroplanes. They were very glamorous. They had a place in London. They had a place in Karachi.
They had a place in London before
No, when they moved here in the 50s, they had a place. Because there's a whole chapter on there called No Blacks, No Dogs, No Irish. And they couldn't get accommodation
of course.
because of that. And I actually interviewed some of my Irish friends as well, just to get that background. And my black friends, my black Caribbean friends, you know, how, because I always link it to things like St. Patrick's Day and Windrush Day. I bring that in, that chapter in particular, I do. But they were just glamorous. They used to dress up beautifully. They had these suits. They wouldn't go anywhere without these, you know, dandies, these very debonair suits, and the women with their jewellery and their beautiful clothes. So
I don't understand. Now I'm confused because I'm you know, reading this book and I'm seeing this journey that they've come on. From what you say in the book, they weren't an educated family. Did I miss something? Because he was making good money because he was doing the cars. But when he came to the UK, and you know, he got married to your mum, and there's a wonderful part in the book. I was really laughing when I read this, where she was so tired of being courted and getting proposals that she said she was not going to, like, she was only marry someone that she had not met. Is that what she said?
Pretty much. Yeah, she didn't want to go out with them or. You know, she didn't really want to get to know them, but you know,
she said that. She said, "I'm not going to get to know him. Like, I'm not interested in that." And then your mum had the chapal, and she was like standing over your dad. Not your mum, sorry, your grandmother, your paternal grandmother. She made the match.
Yeah, she did. She really liked my mum because although they weren't related, there was a lot of. The families were fairly close, like my grandmother knew her aunt and that kind of thing. So my grandmother B, she knew my mum, she'd known her. But my dad always says, oh, it's a forced marriage, because she would stand there and say yes, say yes.
That is a forced marriage. But it turned out well in the end. So I guess they came to the UK. And obviously they came at a time when things were tough. So when did things become easy enough for them to be these glamorous people?
Oh, they were already glamorous before they got here.
Oh, okay, well, so they just brought it with them. Fair enough, mashallah. So, interviewing family. Was that tough at any points?
Yeah, I had to leave some things out, and there's some things that I don't even know about. Like my mum would say, "No, that's a secret." So
Okay,
yeah, that's fine. I said, "Yeah."
So it's not an expose?
Oh gosh, no, not at all. And you know, some things I did run by family members saying, and they said, "No, no, no, leave that bit." But what I did was I kept it for them. I kept that unedited version, like the whole, for a couple of people,
right?
So that they would know that it's not in the book, but it's there just for you.
Okay, nice. And did you find that the family was by and large supportive, or did you have resistance with the idea of writing a book about your family? Because I'm sure there are people who are like, oh God, my family would die if I tried to write a book about anyone in our family. How was your family's response?
They were really supportive.
Mashallah.
But I did get one message saying, hope it's not controversial. And I said, no, I'm not gonna, it's not like a Mommy Dearest book.
Every family could write a controversial version of their history and a clean version of their history.
Why would I do that? And I'm not famous. Why would I, you know, so what if somebody you know,
did whatever they did?
Yeah, it wasn't my intention at all.
Yeah.
It was for my father, a legacy.
Yeah.
But then, as I said, it just became this huge thing. Like, you know, people who don't know my father, never met him, hardly know me.
Yes.
As you know, I'm always flogging the book. They've read it, they've written reviews, they've given me good feedback, said when you're writing the next one.
You've had a good response.
And a good supportive family.
Fantastic. I love that. I love that. And I'm hoping that this is the dawning of a new age for Muslim memoirs, because like I said, there's not many of them at all, especially about non-famous people, very, very few. Would you like to read a little portion of the book for us?
Okay. Time is running out for me, for this memoir, for those who knew and loved my father. Time threw a gauntlet at me. Was I up to this challenge? People who knew my father are well into their twilight years. Some are a little forgetful, and some go on tangents that have given me ideas for further projects. Even in his lifetime, when people would learn that I was Mukhtar's daughter, their faces would light up. They would give me their voices just would change. You know, they would become positive. More positive, and it was just amazing to see. And that was when he was alive. Yeah. So I remember I was in Pakistan, and my sister and we went to the bank. And when they found out who our father was, they stood up. They gave us an extra level of respect and service. They gave us very good service. So my relationship with my dad is what led me to write this memoir. So daughters were always and have been and are and will be revered in our family, and my dad gave me he gave me the confidence and self-esteem to be the best version of myself, and I had this amazing confidence because of that. So I always assumed that other families also treated their daughters like this, with kindness and compassion that I took for granted. But it turns out my circumstances were uniquely blessed. So I've already mentioned that it was for the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. So with my mother's help, I decided to use the partition of India and the birth of Pakistan as a starting point. However, this almost took me away from the memoir. My heart broke. I stopped writing because of all the horrible things that happened that partition brought with it. I took a step back. I reassessed. I remembered my why, my father.
MashaAllah. May Allah have mercy on him as well.
Ameen.
So this book has grown beyond the initial intention, which was family, really, and friends. What has the reception been like?
It's been really good. So I've got, I think, about 30 reviews on Amazon.
Amazing.
I'm hoping for that magic 50, because then the algorithm makes it go up.
Wonderful.
And they've all been positive, really good. There's people that I've just met in passing that bought it. Some who hardly know me, and I'm a good networker. And yeah, and for me, I said this last year for the mini documentary. I said, if one white British person goes away, buys the book, and then reads up on the partition of India and the birth of Pakistan, I'll just feel my work is done. And that was done within weeks after that conversation.
Yes. I'm curious, and I want to give you like a little bit of a little prodding on this. Why a white British person? Why not our own people?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that as Indians and Pakistanis, people from the Asian continent, do you think people know about it enough, talks about it enough, and it's for other people to understand now? Or what's behind that?
Yeah, I'm going to take a step back on that, because at that time, yes, that is my highest level, but we need to know about this because no one knows. So yes, start from us. But I feel, because I was in that whole colonialism thing, and I was like,
it touched something in you,
yes,
didn't it?
I'm so angry,
Because
I'm
it
so
comes
upset.
through, actually, the role of Mountbatten, for example, and the role of the British in the partition, and the way the dates were changed, and just the way that there was, you know, the reason for changing the dates as well, and kind of the impact that that had on the ground. I can tell from the book that that really, really, really moved you. It was a really big, a big shock maybe to realise that potentially this could have been prevented if certain players hadn't acted, you know, sort of in bad faith. Tell me about that.
That was just horrendous. It was a genocide that we don't talk about, that we don't learn about. It's British history. It should be taught in our schools because rightly so, you know, we have a Holocaust remembrance, you know, rightly so. Rightly so, we have a memorial for 9/11. But this was 1947 and you know, I get quite tearful talking about it. And that's important. And yes, you're absolutely right. We need to learn about it, our community. And also when we learn about it, we can understand that, you know, as I said, we have every right to be here. Our, you know, generations from our families or our friends, they fought in World War I and World War II. It could not have, it couldn't have been won without them. It wasn't the British that won World War I and II. It was the British Empire. And that's a direct quote from Dr. Yasmin Khan.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, it's so interesting how very often we'll start a project with a personal intention, really, for a very small audience like you had in your case. But that book opens us up to a whole new world of knowledge, of wisdom, of experience, of history, right? Of heritage that we would never have known. Potentially, if you hadn't decided to write this book, there wouldn't have been necessarily an impetus for you to kind of go in and actually look at the, you know, what happened during partition and your own family's experience with it and the unspoken parts of it. So I think it's really amazing that this has been transformative for you first and foremost, but then of course, for everybody who reads the book and everybody who comes into contact with you, this is, again, a transformational book for them as well. So something can start as simple as, you know, a tribute to my father, for my family, for his grandchildren, and turn into something that literally transforms your life. So what did you get up to with this book? Because I know that you did some rather exciting things when you were promoting this book. What would you say your own personal milestones were once this book was out?
Well, I wasn't on social media before. Well, I was on LinkedIn. That was just to get a job. But that became...
It's a very good reason to have LinkedIn.
And they became my tribe there. They're the people that were there from the beginning.
Yes.
And they, you know, I still thank them. I can't thank them enough. I was a lurker on LinkedIn. I wouldn't even like something because I was like, oh, I couldn't comment and I couldn't. And I've just...
Is that because of lack of confidence?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Because I am confident. I'm a confident person. But it's the whole social media thing, that my generation, you know, I'm 58 now. So it was like, whoa, I'd been on Facebook, but for family, but it wasn't my Facebook account. My children were showing me, oh, look, there's some family. And, you know, you can just navigate this, you can do this. But social media was completely new to me. I didn't know what Google Docs were. I didn't know anything. And then I went on your course, and that was just, that was the thing. That was the milestone.
And
actually.
once you take that decision, and obviously, you know, how long did it take you to birth this elephant?
3 years.
3 years. And I think that's testament really to just refusing to give up. When you know your why, you just don't give up. Right. And after the book came out, obviously you connect with all these new people. You get on Instagram, you get on Instagram Live, you're on podcasts, you know, you're collaborating with people. And I noticed that as well, the topic of partition keeps bringing you back and bringing you back and bringing you back. Would you consider writing something else on the topic of partition?
Yeah, I am already. I've been approached.
See now, mashallah. So what are you working on right now?
So haven't started because it was going to be something completely different because we discussed this. So my cousins have approached me to write about my uncle, my mum's brother, and it will be about partition again.
Hey, mashallah. So this is now a new specialism that you've got,
I
mashallah.
don't know what it's going to be called, but I thought the strapline could be a niece's loving memoir to her uncle.
I like it. It's on brand, mashallah. So where can people find you?
Instagram is the best place to find me.
Excellent.
And I'm on everything, but Instagram is the place at the moment.
Samina Uddin? Samina Uddin?
Samina Uddin, SID, and then 1. And I am building that email list and doing a press pack because I find now people are asking me, can we have your photo and a bio? But sometimes you have to adjust the bio, but I've got a pretty good one at the moment.
Well, that's the work of the behind-the-scenes work of the authors and making new connections, inshallah. Well, I cannot wait to see what you come out with next, and I'm excited to see the impact that you will continue to make, inshallah, through this book and through all the others. And as always, guys, what is our dua? Our dua is that Sister Samina's books end up on bookshelves all around the world. Ya Rab, make it happen. Jazakallah khairan, sis.
Thank you for having me.
For more inspiring books, check out our weekly reading list. From My Sister's Lips by Naima B. Robert. Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. Finding Peace in the Holy Land, a British Muslim memoir by Lauren Booth.